Moving on to the third component, third main part of the power system, the distribution system. The first electrical distribution system was developed by Thomas Edison. It was an underground direct current system. They have generated a power through DC generator and then um, transmitted the electrical power via underground cables to a few like a few hundreds of houses, and that is mainly for lightning purpose only, not any other motor load or anything else. And it was around in 1890 something around in that year. And distribution system, so again it is a essential part of the electrical power system which connects the end user of the energy to the main grid lines carrying the bulk power. The distribution system usually employs equipment such as transformers, circuit breakers, protective devices, and most of the time the distribution system are having the radial connections of different load and feeder lines. So this is the brief of a distribution system. That is the main third part of the power system network. Now moving on to some deep technical in the power system analysis. Um, in the power system analysis, if you talk about the power system analysis, the basic or the fundamental principle is how we represent the power system. So there is as we know that power system are extremely complicated three-phase network, and it is so complex that the complete diagram showing all the connections with three phases are impractical. The single line diagram is the representation of the main connection and power system components using the simple symbols along with their data. In this uh, in the single line diagram, the load is assumed to be passive, and it is represented by the resistive or inductive reactances in the series. The neutral earthing impedance does not appear in the diagram, and the complete system is assumed to be in balanced condition. For practical like for practical practicing electrical engineers and researchers, interpretation of single line diagram is equally important for any type of power system analysis or power system studies, and it requires a skill also. And this at the same time, in the bottom you can see simple power system network I have shown here. There is a In the left side there is a generating unit, then there are some protective circuit breakers or relay, then there is a bus, then there is a step up transformer, then there is a transmission line. Again it is a step down. The power is a step down via step down transformer, and then it is feeded the electrical power is feeded to the motor. Though though all the connections are in three phase, there are neutral connections also, but we have not represented it for the sake of simplicity. So this representation is known as single line diagram representation of the power system network. So this is the okay. So these are the some few components, like a few symbols of some components of power system network. In in starting we can see there are fuses. We can represent there are multiple representation for the fuse, multiple representation for the circuit breakers, then disconnect switches, lightning arresters, connectors, generator and motors, for transformer, and for variable transformer, for inverter, rectifier, or motor drive. The different representations are there. So, and also one point should be noted here, there is not any universally accepted notations for representing these power system components. There might be the case that some particular country or in some particular country, um, they use different notations for a transformer and or a transmission line or load or generator or anything else, but in some other company or some other country they use different notations. That is the beauty of this single line diagram also, it's quite flexible, and it completely depends upon the utility or the service provider. Moving on, the per unit representation. So now we have the we have discussed the graphical representation of the power system network. Now the parametric representation or the values of the power system network is also having the same type of complexity, and also having the having a very large amount. So to have a simplicity in those parameters or the values of the current voltages and the power level, we use the per unit representation. And in a power system network, they may have different voltage levels at different sections. This leads to a very cumbersome procedure for mathematical modeling and analysis. This power system representation is very much important, or is very much effective in mathematical modeling and analysis. Transforming all the parameters of the interconnected components in per unit system provides a feasible solution, as I have already told. The definition of the power system, the per unit representation for the power system components can be as the per unit value of any quantity is given as the ratio of actual value to the base or the reference value. The per unit value is dimensionless also. Okay, so I guess if you are not aware about the the per unit representation of the power system network, it might be a bit confusing to you just from the definition. So to give a more clarification, I'm presenting the equations for the power per unit calculations. In the per unit calculation, we assume some base case values for the volt for the power level and the voltage level. For the power level, we if we assumed VA as a base voltage, and for the voltage level VB as a base voltage level, then base value of the current will be, from definition, volt ampere divided by voltages, and the base impedance again will be from the same fundamental equations. It will be equal to uh, base voltage divided by base current, or it will be equal to square of base voltage divided by volt ampere of base. Now the question arises here, how we choose these volt ampere or base value of this volt ampere or the base value of the voltage level. So it completely depends upon the power system engineers who are designing the circuit or who are designing the power system network. He may, depending upon the size of the power system network, he may choose the value of base voltages or the base volt ampere. But the practical choice of these things are in the range of megavolt ampere and kilovolt base, because in the power system network we mostly talk about in megawatt range or in kilovolt range. Okay, to give a further explanation or the further advantage how per unit system or how a single line diagram is helpful in power system analysis or in power system network representation, a simple example is shown here. We can see a simple power system network is shown here, in which there is a two bus A and bus B. Via these two buses, generating some generators and some loads are connected. These two buses are connected via transmission line through two transformers. The values shown here in red color text, the actual values are shown, and in green color, the per unit values are shown. So now, what in this power system network, as a power system engineer, I have selected the base MVA as the 30 MVA, 30 MVA, and the base kilovolt base voltage level I have selected as a 33 kilovolt at transmission line. Okay, so now we can see if we look at the red color values or the actual values, we can see at the generator 1 at the bus A, the power is 30 megawatt, 30 MVA, voltage is 10.5 kilovolts, And while on the bus B, the power level of the generator 2 and generator 3 is 15 MVA or 25 MVA, and while the kilovolt voltage level is 6.6 kilovolt. While on the other hand, if we look at the green values, the per unit values for the generator 1, the kilovolt is 0.95 per unit, and for the generator 2, it is 1.0665 per unit. So we can see it is in the close range of 1 per unit, while in actual value it is 10.5 kilovolt, and for generator 2 it is 6.6 kilovolt, which is having a very huge difference of around 4 kilovolts. It may give a very wrong interpretation for a power system engineer who is going to put a relay there, who is going to put a circuit breaker, or who is going to do some maintenance or technical work there. The 4 kilovolt voltage difference would be very huge there. But in if we talk about in the per unit system, there is all the voltage level are in the same range, and the chances of error are significantly reduced in the power system analysis of the power system studies. So now benefits, again, as I have already told, the per unit representation um, eliminates the necessity of referring the circuit quantities on the different side of the transformer, makes the calculation easy. Normally, as I've already told, we are dealing with the numeric value near to unity, and it provides a more meaningful comparison for the machine with parameters having a different ratings. So if ratings are very different, but with the per unit values, we can have a very meaningful comparison. Again, with the single line diagram, the benefits are the instrument, transformer, protection, and metering devices are not included. So that's why the representation has become easy. The single line diagram, okay, that also I have already told that there is no universally accepted symbol, so it's quite flexible and depends upon country to country or company to company or the power system grid to grid, how they are going to represent their power system network. Okay, now moving further, the power system studies. As I've already told, the power system is a very vast, complex, and complicated system. So, for its planning to operation, the power system engineers have to face a wide range of challenges. Their challenges is like for generating system, the cost of electrical energy, the quantity of the electrical energy, and the timing of production for the particular amount of electrical energy. These all type of studies are important as the generating stations. At the transmission station, the reduction of losses, right of way fault, reliability, congestions. These are the major challenges which power system engineers have to face. For the distribution system, again, the load management, economic operation, energy audit. These are the compli- major challenges which a power system have to face. For the grid operators, again, the grid operator are the people who defines a set of regulations for all above three systems, and have to have some overall coordination between these three things: generation, transmission, and distribution. So the challenges or the work for the grid operators are future expansion, transmission planning, congestion management, and grid codes. So these are the like challenges also, and these are the power system studies or the power system analysis at different level of the power system, which requires the okay. So these are the major areas of the power system studies. um, it is broadly divided into two category, like the steady state analysis. It is restricted to small and gradual changes in power system conditions. This is basically in the steady state analysis, we basically concentrate on voltage magnitudes or the bus voltage magnitudes. But on the same side, we also ensure the phase angle between the two buses are not too high. For all these checks, we usually use power flow analysis. Other studies includes economical and optimal power system operation, transmission line expansion, congestion management, power system deregulation or unbundling also comes in the steady state analysis. On the other hand, the dynamic analysis, it is the study of continuous small disturbance, comes under the dynamic or transient studies. The small changes occur due to random fluctuation in loads and congestion level. It includes the fault analysis, whether it is symmetrical or unsymmetrical, the generation and the voltage control, power system stability and security analysis comes under the dynamic analysis, load management, or the various type of control operations or the forecasting techniques using artificial intelligence comes under the dynamic analysis of the power system network. So to do all these analysis and the studies in the power system network, we have a number of softwares or a number of simulation softwares. As we know, the power system network is having a very large size and it is spread over a large geographical area. So we cannot have go directly to the power system grid and do our like all the testing and everything. It may it may be very disturbing for the grid. So we must have to have some simulation software where we do the mathematical modeling of these components or these big generator or big transmission line and do all the testings there. So for that, for all those things, obviously we have, as I guess we all must be knowing about the MATLAB, which is provided by the MathWorks. Other than that, there are few softwares like Power Factory, PSCAD, Homer, ETAP, PSSC, PSLF, DSAT. And one thing I just want to mention here that there are the few software which are company specific, like as we can see here, PSSCE software is provided by the Siemens and PSLF software is provided by GE. And there are some other softwares which different companies use indigenously. So what I'm trying to say here, if we have a knowledge of these software or if we are having a hands-on or some experience with these softwares, it gives an extra edge to get recruited in these companies. So just that's just some softwares. Okay. So these are the licensed softwares. There are some few open source softwares also available, mostly developed by some educational institutes like UWP Flow by University of Waterloo in Canada, and then from University of Texas, from University of Castilla La Mancha, and then there is a software Mat Power. These are the open source software. You can easily get it on internet and you can use it as your in your own way. Definitely they have their own restrictions, like you can use it for a commercial purpose or you can use only for academic or research purpose only. Okay, so now coming to the most interesting part of this webinar, that is the industrial scope and job opportunities. As I have already presented that the participation of private player in Indian power sector has significantly increased in the last decade. It has come with huge demand of power system engineers also. The job role varies from technician, operators, and project engineers to senior level of energy managers and energy auditors. The ever increasing demand of renewable energy and the government support incentives provided by the various agencies, non-government organizations give a boost to the startup or the small companies in the development of renewable energy based products. Like for example, if you talk about the solar power plants, so for a very huge scale solar power plant, we need solar panels, we need battery system, we need inverter system, we need some computer central control unit, we need cable, feeder line, wires, transmission system, transformers, and lot of small small to big um, supporting devices, support structures. These all can be provided by small companies or the new startups. And the government is also very much um, aggressive towards the renewable based energy production. Recently, the state government or the union government of India has passed a target of around I guess 175 of gigawatt renewable energy based power plants. In that 175 gigawatt of energy production, 100 gigawatt is set for the solar based energy. So this is a very huge amount of power generating capacity which India is targeting in the next 1 or 2 year. Like the target is set for year 2022, and the remaining 60% should come from wind power plant, and remaining 15%, I guess 10 is from micro like small or micro hydroelectric plants, and 5 should be from biogas based electric power plants. So that's what my intention was to say, how renewable energy is the future of electrical energy is in renewable based power plants. Now there is another aspect with the new electricity regulations around the globe, not only in India, around the globe. uh, with new electricity regulations, the unbundling of Indian power system has now started. With the unbundling or the deregulation or restructuring of the power system network, I mean, earlier the power system network, all these three components, generation, transmission, and distribution, comes as a single unit, and the con- single entity or the government controls all these three things, defines the rules and regulation, everything, and they all comes a government owned company. But now the deregulation has been happened, and now many private players has also entered in the distribution system. We know that in Mumbai, Delhi, and other metro cities, the power suppliers, we have some private company have the power supplying, like Reliance, Tata, or Torrent Power. So in the same way, that the transmission system, the government is planning to have some private players. In the generation system, already there are so many private players have already come up with their renewable based power plants, or the conventional or the thermal power plants. So there is a huge scope in the future also in the Indian power sector. There is a few companies, like in government sector there is NTPC, NHPC, Rural Electricity Corporation, PFC, like it is some finance corporation, THDC, POSOCO. In if the list of private companies, if you ask, then there is ABB, Siemens, Schneider, G Power, Alstom, Tata Motors, Suzlon, Vestas. Suzlon and Vestas, I just want to say, they are the biggest wind turbine producer around the globe. And then there are some simulation softwares. The company of these simulation software, they also recruit power system engineers for further improvement in their softwares, like ETAP, MathWorks. So there is a huge scope for the power system engineers in future. So that's all from my side regarding the brief introduction of power system network.